So it's been 10 years this month since I became a Zen monk. I took ordination with Shinzen Roshi and embarked on my training period as a monk. And part of that was to do a walk. I did a pilgrimage walk up through the middle of the country. So I started from Gaunt's house, which is where we had our retreat, and I took ordination. And I walked south to Bournemouth, which was not very far. And then from Bournemouth on the south coast of the UK, I walked about 450 miles north to just a bit north of Manchester. I went up to Oxford and I skirted around the top of London and then ended up in Amravati, which is a Buddhist monastery just north of London. Then I walked up to Milton Keynes. I met Hogetz and the temple that she's involved with there. And then I walked north to, basically I followed the Grand Union Canal. But this is what it's all about. Waking up at 6 in the morning, or 5 in the morning, and packing my stuff up, getting on the road, and actually the road is right here. And today we're going to be along the canal most of the way, and it's just beautiful. The sun is just rising, there's a lovely smell of flowers in the air and little few dog walkers. It just feels amazing to be out and about. Milton Keynes to Leicester, Nottingham, and then up to Sheffield. I crossed over through the Peak District, went to Hebden Bridge, and then I ended up on Pendle Hill, which is the place where basically Quakerism was founded, where the founder of Quakerism had a big awakening, and the top of this hill, just into Lancashire, north of Manchester. So it took me about 4 weeks of walking, and I did it, of course, as a monk we have no money, so you give away your money. I just had a bowl, I had a rucksack. In the rucksack I had a sleeping bag, I had a sleeping roll, like a mat, I had a map, and I had the bowl. And I think maybe I had a spare change of clothes, something like that. That was it, yeah. So this bowl, it was probably about this size or something like that. And I had this big hat on, big conical hat. And so at various places along the walk, I would stop and I'd tilt the hat down so you can't see my eyes, and I would just hold the bowl out in front. And then something would arise, some offer, or maybe some people would offer me places to stay, some people offered me a bit of food. I never went without. It was the most amazing lesson for me in letting go. I think over those 10 years, I think that's been the main thing. How to let go into the stream of life and know that there will be something arising out of life which is supportive. Now, I know that not everyone experiences that. Not everyone, life ends up supporting them and things go very difficult. But I think for me, it was just that kind of mini experience of what it might be to be in that place. Just completely like, I had nothing. I didn't know where I was going to sleep. I didn't know how I was going to eat. And kind of like knowing or experiencing on multiple occasions through that walk that something arose. And if nothing arose, then that's also okay. Like, I have myself, and like knowing or kind of feeling out that myself, I have the strength, I have the capability of just keep on walking. I keep on walking, finding somewhere to stay. Like I stayed under some scaffolding, I stayed in a church doorway, I stayed in someone's garage, just out the back. Just kind of finding something and knowing that that's okay. So that's like one thing, I think over those 10 years, like knowing that even when things are very, very difficult, that there will be some support that arises from somewhere. It's okay. It's okay. And there's a lovely koan, what happens when the tree withers and the leaves fall? So a monk comes and asks this, basically, what happens when I really, really let go? And the answer from Zen Master Umon, well, we embody the golden breeze. So we're kind of taking these autumnal references and analogies. So we embody the breeze. We basically just be the breeze. We blow. If the leaves fall and the tree withers, we become the flow of life. Now that felt very strong and important during the walk and kind of lesson that I've taken. The other thing was dealing with very difficult physical sensations. So the walk was very painful. I got a lot of blisters. The footwear I was wearing was tricky. And of course, all that walking day after day. Fuck, my feet hurt so much. So... that's funny, but 5 minutes ago I was literally crying. Oh, maybe just 1 more mile to go. Fucking hell. When you get a lot of physical pain, the world begins to contract. And I spoke about this a bit at the time. This was a lesson I found that was coming up. The world was contracting, my body was getting tense, my whole world view was getting narrower, like I had blinkers on. All I could feel was my feet, step after step, of like, ow, 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 you know, trying not to make it hurt. But then I realized after a while what I was doing to myself and what was happening, like everything contracting. And then it became, maybe I could start to do the opposite, start to let things expand out. Could I become aware of the breeze in the hedgerow and the smell of the flowers and the cut grass as I was walking with this pain? So it became pain and rather than just pain. And I think that over the years has become a very important part of my practice, that when physical discomfort arises, it's okay. You can let it arise and be fully with it whilst also having a much expanded view of things and holding it all together. So it's like this and rather than just this, not the contraction, the expansion. Yeah. So I suppose they're the two main things that came up. Over my period of the walk and what I've taken, over these last 10 years. Of course, over these years, I've started to step more into a role of teaching. One of the reasons for doing the walk was to get out and about, to put myself in situations where people would ask me, what am I doing? Why do you look so weird? And I'd have to talk about, what I'm doing, who I was. And then people would, of course, the conversation would start, well, what is Buddhism? What is Zen? What is Buddhism? What are you practicing? And then, of course, it arises. You end up doing a meditation with someone just on a park bench, or talking to someone in a market or whatever like that. And so then that teaching has become more, part of my life and what I offer. And, stepping into more of a role here within Zenways and kind of letting this kind of stuff begin to flow out and like having the pipe open. So the pipe of receiving, the student, the learning, and the pipe of giving, the generosity, maybe the teaching, the dharma, the being there. And I kind of taking inspiration from those people on the walk who were very, very generous. And they didn't know me and they just offered me things. So kind of letting that all kind of swill around and become who I am, over these last 10 years. So if you're interested, I'd highly recommend, doing that. If you find that as your practice is moving in that direction, we've spoken a lot over the years about how to make pilgrimage a more accessible thing, maybe shorter, maybe in chunks, maybe doing it in a place which feels safe or doing it in a way with other people. Lots of ways for pilgrimage to happen and for kind of like exploring those things I mentioned. Have a chat with Daizan and myself if that's arising for you.